Mm-hmm. Hello. Jara wymuska.
Shine the laser through the hole, and we can see a little spot on the screen over there. What would you expect to see? You'd expect to see just if there's one hole, you'd expect to see one spot, but that's already not quite a complicated pattern.
Okay. Hello, people. We are again live. Well, this video download was cancelled. What is going on? Yo! Something's wrong. I don't know what. What's wrong? Like, hello? Ah, okay. So, hello, people. We are live again. And again, and again, and again. For who knows how long. Anyway, so if I'm live on Twitch, maybe I'll need to go live on YouTube as well, right? Right. So that's what we are going to do. We're going from private to public. Great. And now we'll just gonna change the thumbnail very quickly. Very, very quickly. As a lightning. Oh, yeah. As a lightning. Wait for it. Oh, come on. Like... Where is it? Oh well, this is it. This is the one. Yeah, right. Excellent. So now we have a thumbnail. Is this a waste of time? So, yeah, right. Is it? Is this a waste of time? Am I wasting my time? Like, on Twitch, I have 1 follower. And no views whatsoever. So I'm just wondering, is this a waste of time? Right? Because who in their right mind would live stream for hours and hours with no views, with nobody watching them? So that's my question. I know I have a very much would live stream for hours and hours. This is not me. Alright, good. Oh. I know I have lots of pause. Lots of thinking, but I'm not that good at English, so bear with me, or at least, I don't know, try to bear with me. So the live stream quality isn't that good, as I can see here. Don't know why. Who knows why? Maybe I should run a internet test. Let's see this. A speed test, right? Let's see how our speed test is doing. 200. Not that great. Just above 100 76 megabytes so per second, and the upload is 25. Not that great. Maybe I should go and check the other. Actually, just a bit. I want to check this. No, I'm not. Yeah, I'll be right back. In a bit. Just in a bit. So I'm just here. Watch this. So what is this? I'm here in the bitrate section, right? So no delay. What's wrong? I just can't understand. Cannot understand this at all. What is happening? Why isn't my stream good? So, broadcasting guidelines, right? So CBR, well, I am using CBR. Like for real. Really, I am using CBR. I go to stream. Yeah, so yeah, it's really, it is that. So actually there's nothing I can do, right? I'm not. I don't get it, right? Yep. Yeah. Everything is according to this. Well, maybe the bitrate is a bit more. I mean, it's over 6,000, right? So it's over 6,000. Should I put it at 6,000? Let's see. Oh, right. Let's set it there. Right? So this should be okay. Let's see, unstable. Average stream bitrate is too high. Wait, what can I do? Like, for real? What can I do? Yeah, so the output scale is 9020 by 1080, right? So it's standard HD. So at 60 frames per second. The audio encoder is there. The video encoder is from my video card, AMD. Maybe. Now it's all right. I don't know. I'm just gonna, yeah, just refresh. Excellent. Okay, right. Great. Excellent. So now we are excellent, right? So the video bitrate is no more than 6,000 and maybe 6,500 or something, right? And that's all right. That's the perfect, that's the ideal streaming bitrate. And now I'm at 2 viewers. I don't know who is watching me. Who else is watching me? I hope if you're watching this, hi, you can leave a comment or even a subscribe, yeah, or a follow, right, on Twitch. So I'm just trying to make sense of this, of all of this. So now I'm right here, right? So the NVIDIA, I wish I had an NVIDIA for real. I have an AMD card, but for the future, I wish I had a AMD card. I'm sorry, I'm so bad at English. Maybe in Romania it's better, but now I'm gonna try and speak English just for a bit, at least. And if I find it too difficult, I'll switch back to Romanian. But for now, I'm gonna speak English. Okay, so I'm gonna go to home. I'm gonna go to manage stream, right? And this is what you see. Great. So I'm changing the scene, yeah, from OBS, right? I'm drinking a bit of water. So what you are hearing in the background, I hope it's alright. I hope it's not too distracting. I hope it's not too harsh, too big in the background. I'm using an Endel, right? So what should I do? I'm switching accounts, right? Because I have another account on YouTube, so I'm just trying to switch this account, right? So maybe we can watch something together, or I don't know.
Alo? Și dacă mă uit de aici sus, văd camera în jos. Mă distruge imaginea asta. Mi-a stricat ziua. Iluzie. Jur că dacă te uiți în mijloc, cumva, în mijloc și după aia sus, spre dreapta, ai impresia că e orientată încolo și după aia te uiți aici sus și vezi că, nu, bă, stai un pic, de fapt e încoace.
Ce zice?
Ce e asta?
Let's watch him.
Bă, dar nu e bine când face recorderul de astea, mai. Așa am mâncat ciuperci, nimic.
Fundamentală când a ales să promoveze proiectul
Schimbă.
prin asumare și că
Dai mă, Stan David, bagă următorul JPEG cu aia, că nebunesc că aici te pot asculta.
legiuitorul e liber să decidă de câte ori poate modifica regulile privind pensiile de serviciu. Citez,
Așa.
securitatea juridică nu respinge evoluțiile legislative,
What
chiar
is
dacă
going on,
acestea
right?
sunt rezultatul unor
What is
modificări
this?
succesive ale legilor. Momentul totuși e extrem de delicat pentru coaliția de la putere, dar mai ales pentru premierul Bolojan. La începutul lunii trecute, el fusese întrebat cum va proceda dacă legea nu trece de CCR.
Și ce-o
O
zis?
singură precizare vă mai rog. Tot legat de acest proiect, dacă el nu trece de CCR, vă dați demisia?
V-am explicat și data trecută
Băi, cum vorbește
că
ăsta.
atunci când ai un proiect foarte important, care este un jalon pentru a lua alte
boy.
decizii asemănătoare, dacă el nu trece, e greu de presupus că un guvern mai are legitimitatea să vină cu măsuri asemănătoare în alte domenii.
Mai mulți
Yikes!
lideri ai partidelor de la putere, dar și un consilier prezidențial, Ludovic Orban, consideră însă că premierul Bolojan nu ar avea motive să își dea demisia. Reforma pensiilor magistraților rămâne o prioritate, afirmă președintele Nicu.
Bă, s-a îngrășat Nicușor? Sau
S-a
o lua cu
îngrășat.
altă lentilă? Că aici pare un pic mai împlinit. Pare mai întrămat așa.
Aha.
Jordan. Potrivit lui, un nou text de lege va fi întocmit în curând în funcție de conținutul deciziei de azi. Și președintele interimar al PSD, Sorin Grindeanu, e de părere că legea trebuie refăcută, dar
A dispărut gâtul ăsta. Au devenit vierme. Bă, v-am mai întrebat chestia asta,
devenit
dar deodată
vierme.
nu am răspuns la asta și pe mine mă stresează maxim. Deci fiți atenți. Animal X. Hienă, șopârlă, vierme. Bă, cum pula mea ai acces la toate animalele?
Ahem.
Îți zice cineva, bă, tu ai de unde alege din toate animalele.
Scuze.
Din toate animalele, Animal X, toate animalele, ce vrei să fii? Vierme. Bă,
Da. Ok. Altceva. Misusing a voice changer sounds interesting. Well, it could. Right? So, for real, it could.
Eu nu candidez
You know, this is kind of boring for me. I feel like this is the same
That's the most
thing
interesting.
all over again, right? The same thing. See? Everything here is the same old thing. The same refresh, right? So I'm gonna refresh. Yeah, Jacob Collier. He's so good. Oakland, Romania roleplay. So, yeah. Let's see her, right?
Că
Bă, da, v-ați observat ceva că Otis ăla nu mai jucat?
te pup, Aline, mersi mult de 10 euro. Eram sigură că tu ești.
Dacă ieșea pe mici, ieșea unul...
Cine altcineva putea să fie?
Vezi?
Era cineva...
A început acum 4 ore,
Ce?
are 10.400 de subscriberi, da? Și acum are 12
M-am supărat eu
View-uri.
așa
12 view-uri.
pe el.
12 view-uri, frate. Știi?
E la voi rampă.
What's the gist? What's...
E pe site.
What should we do?
E, nu intră, el stă pe la munte, pe la mare, pe la alea. Mai vine așa din când în când să zică salut și pleacă. Nici măcar like nu-mi lasă.
Who?
Nici măcar un like nu-mi lasă.
Bă, dar puteți să fiți un pic atenți. Adică, pui mei, bă, dacă pușim, hai să pușim în cap, frate. Unde scoatem acolo, intrăm, nu știu, pui mei.
Da, da.
Păi, tocmai, frate, și de ce ați ieșit atunci? Mai stați un pic ascunși,
Uite,
frate,
easy.
prea repede.
10, să uită 10 la ea. Înțelegi?
Mulțumesc, mai întâi și data viitoare și ți dau moderator înapoi.
Stai că acum termin, mai am o rudă și o aduc eu, mergeți.
Moderator. Ce e la moderator? N-am habar, nene. N-am habar de moderator. Ce e la moderator?
Aș pe tine. N-am văzut Windows.
Nu. Da, astăzi e starea aia
Există.
la mine. Știi de...
Unde?
Un pic frustrat că... Nu, de...
Păi în geam sunt conector, e și în geam.
Am și conector. Și geam și conector.
Asta e. Sper să nu se mai întrerupă măcar, adică... Faptul că
Trebuie să
am
băgat asta.
blocat streaming-ul la...
Nu cred. Și con.
Și geam.
Da, mai face pic.
Noi la con.
Bun, Mori, să nu mai dau.
Hai să... Deci, ok, aici nu e nimic, adică e pe... What is this? Știi? What is this? This is nothing. This is really nothing at all.
Rapă și palat, rapă și site. Rapă și site.
Hai, mă, dare cap.
Erau 3 aici.
Dar cum poți să zici rampa, frate, că mă uitam la mine?
Tăcesc, bă, băieți, bă, că mă doare cap. Ce, mă?
Vorbeai cu mine?
Nu. Hai, te joci? Te joci?
12. Watching.
Mai am level 3. Mai am. Mă gândeam că m-am dus iar în 2. Că nu era ceva... Oh.
Bata, asta se joacă Counter-Strike, nu?
Un meci mă joc. Dacă îl pierd pe ăsta, gata. End of the story. End of the end of the end. Cine mi-a scris mă distrai? Nu mă joc, lasă. Păi oricum liniște stăteam. Da. Să mor tu?
Nu.
De ce? Ce
Și
zice?
că ce chestie, ce să... Na, ce întrebare.
Eroare tu?
Nu știu. Ce faci așa?
Mai zi odată.
Nu știu, nimic, că e lung. Hai, o să vezi. Să te luăm bani? Da, de ce?
De ce să ții bani dacă...
Păi da,
ce-ți dă acolo? Să dai.
Trei la logout.
E de dări 3?
5 ori când am. La...
Nu. Ce-a pățit? Ce-o fi pățit? Nu. Ce-a pățit? Hai, comentăm cum se joacă alții. Păi dacă eu nu mă joc, că mi se întrerupe
Este
stream-ul.
loc de un robot, da, Aline, intră. Ce zice de...
De un robot. Cine mă robot?
Bot is not working properly.
Ina?
Interesant, nu? Acum se uită 13, nu? De 5 ore. A, nu, stai că vroiam să văd ceva aici.
I'm standing here in the middle of the Pontar.
Da. Știi? Eu încerc să, în general, să îmi dau seama. I'm just trying to find out. What is it that makes people encapsulate themselves? Ce facem pe oameni să se încapsuleze? What makes them? Right? So I hope the streaming is well. I mean, the choppiness of the video I've seen, it's very bad. I hope it's not that bad. But the question remains, you know? What makes people encapsulate themselves? Is it a pain? Kind of a pain? So I was just watching now that I had 3 viewers and now I have 2. What makes people stay? But the pain, does pain make people isolate, right? So encapsulate themselves because they have no profound meaning of something else, of something more. Is it just me saying whatever? Or something greater is at hand, right? So how come other people have I just run down at one viewer, and that one viewer is me. Are we aware that there is something more? Are we thinking consciously, right? Consciously. Something bigger or above our knowledge of what we know? Yeah. Nobody wants to see this boring face, right? Not even me. I'm looking at myself and this is not engaging. This is not something I would want to see somebody else talking about, right? I would. Who are you? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? But the question remains deeper, so it goes far beyond what we imagine. Even if now it seems like I'm talking gibberish, right? So I'm spacing so much time between words. I know that I'm making sense of what I'm saying. And maybe in time, people will, and not people, but not only people, but even me will understand that sometimes it's best to give up yourself for the greater good. And if you are part of that greater good, that means you're on the right side. Yeah. Food for thought. I don't know why I have these different accents. Now I'm speaking like a Briton. And other times I speak like a freaking Russian. Or because I'm Romanian, right? So the accent is very harsh, like a Russian. And my wife now is walking through the door, and she's looking at me, smiling, and I'm just blabbering. It was how do you say musca? A fly. It was a fly in here, right? So see, hello, another viewer. Hi there. Is this wasting time or not? Yeah. And should I continue to speak in English or mai bine trec pe română? Că gata, a plecat. So it flew away. That's Twitch. Ăla e Twitch. Pe YouTube nici nu știu, adică nici nu. Pe YouTube sunt doar eu, adică n-are cum. Nu știu. Cred că niciodată n-am găsit pe YouTube să mă recomande YouTube-ul prin live streaming către altcineva, adică
I'm standing here in the middle.
Da. Ok. Um. One viewer, one follower. That one viewer is me. That one follower, I had two. You know? So this is my first follower in 20 days. So 20 days ago, one follower followed me. Actually two. But one left. So QT334X baby or BB or whatever is not following me anymore. Who knows who that was? Doesn't matter. I'm gonna say it was maybe a female. So she followed me, but then she unfollowed me. And now I have one follower, and that is Azeroth. So Azeroth is my one follower who it isn't online now, and he's the only one on Twitch who ever actually not the only one, maybe there were a few more bots who commented that I should go on a site and pay for viewers. So the question remains, what is happening? Is this a waste of time or not? Should I continue? Because for now, this road to affiliate is not working. Because I need, on average, 3 viewers. And now I have only 1 viewer. So yeah, this road to affiliate is not going that well. See, now I have 2 viewers. Hi there, new viewer. Leave a comment. Maybe follow, subscribe, I don't know. Something. Hi. Is it a fluke? Is it something else? Should I keep watching this?
Middle of the Pontar.
Maybe not. Am I wasting time? Am I going to be an affiliate? Am I speaking English wrong? Yes, I am. I'm not a native speaker of English, so yeah. But hi there, maybe you want to stay. Maybe you want to go. Who knows? So, see? He's gone. Or she's gone. I'm just watching this. For me, this is kind of interesting. So my wife is asking me if I'm alright. Yes, I'm alright. I'm a bit frustrated, you know? But I'm kind of alright. Yeah. Anyhow. This is me now. I wish I had, I don't know, maybe more knowledge, maybe something more than knowledge, I don't know. A team of some sorts to edit my clips, to feel like maybe I'm doing something right, or I'm on the right path with this streaming thingy. Even my voice is choppy, but I have to continue to speak. I have to keep speaking, you know, because maybe that's how I will improve. Well, see, something good is going on, even in the worst scenarios. So be positive, because now I'm improving my English. I can speak freely through my mind, not thinking that hard. Maybe not making those gaps so large. I'm improving, right? Because I'm speaking English for I don't know, maybe half an hour or so. An hour, half an hour. Yeah, I think half an hour. Half. Jumătate de oră. Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna leave you just for maybe 5 minutes, because I have no manager for videos. I have nothing of that sort, so I'm trying my best, you know, just trying to do something to make maybe a living, trying to find a meaning in all of this. Even now I see that is chopping. The video is chopping. I don't know. I think I've just hit a sensible part, or a frustration part, right? Maybe I'll just have to overcome it and continue doing this till I'll get better and better and better and better at it. But the interesting part of this streaming thing is that there are so many categories, there are so many things to stream, and you don't know. Maybe in just chatting it's alright, right? Because there are so many followers in just chatting. I'm referring this to Twitch. But also there are gaming categories. There are art categories, music, right? And painting, and what's dancing and other arts. And for me now is just trying to make sense and understanding what should I do here. Yeah, chopping, I'm referring that the video is breaking. Sacadează, se întrerupe. My wife is asking me. See, even this is... It doesn't matter, you know? We're going forward. Of course, maybe praying more, right? Is best. Because praying is communicating with God. And when you pray, He listens if and only if you are seeking inside. Anyway, I think I'm just a bit yeah, I'm just a bit hungry or a bit down. So, yeah, I'll be back.
river from the hit 2015 video game The Witcher 3, and I have a question. Is this real? I mean, obviously it's not real, it's a video game, but I just mean, could this happen? Because, let me show you something. If you look on the map in the game, you can see that the river starts down here in the bottom corner, and it supposedly flows this way towards the ocean. But if you actually look in-game, none of this water is flowing. No matter where you look. All of the water along this river from top to bottom is just sitting in the same place. On top of that, there are a bunch of little details that don't seem to make sense. Like this place where there's an offshoot of the river going in the opposite direction that the river is supposedly flowing, and, maybe the weirdest thing of all, there's a whale skeleton in the middle of a swamp nowhere near the ocean. So what's going on with this game? Is it just a crazy fantasy world? Maybe, but I have a theory for how all of this might actually be extremely hydrologically realistic. But in order to see if I'm right, we're going to have to comb over every inch of this non-flowing river, looking at tiny details you would never even think to pay attention to while playing the game. And the very first question we have to address is, why isn't this river flowing? Now, my first thought was probably the same as yours. This is a video game. So maybe the developers just didn't model flowing water because it was simpler and they didn't see a need. We've played games like that before, like Morrowind and even Breath of the Wild to some degree. But if you go up into the mountains east of this river in The Witcher 3, you'll find a whole separate river system, and that whole system has flowing water all over the place. It even has waterfalls. So whatever's going on with the big rivers down below is a lot more complex. Let's take a closer look. One of the first things that stood out to me on this river is back at the edge of the map. The area around here is riddled with evidence of recent flooding. You've got pockets of standing water near the banks of the river. You've got erosion along the waterline indicating that the river was recently higher than it is now. You've got more erosion along the ground where water might have washed away the soil. This was definitely done intentionally. And there's also some good evidence that the river is still near flood stage. If we travel a bit further downstream, we can find this section of the river that's clearly swollen beyond its normal size. It almost looks like a lake, and if we zoom out, we can kind of see how the river would normally flow like this, but at the moment it's so high that it's filling up a low-lying area around its banks. You've also got this big cliff that had one side of itself completely eroded and knocked into the river below, so the flooding must have been pretty substantial. And yet, if we go further, we can find man-made structures built on little islands that are barely more than a couple feet above the waterline. If this area was really prone to flooding, why would they build structures in such high-risk areas? I thought about this for a long time because it really didn't seem like there could possibly be any realistic explanation for all of this. Which is fine, it's a video game, it doesn't have to be realistic. But how can you have a non-flowing river that violently floods all the time, but then somehow also have permanent infrastructure built on the same areas that are flooding? It just doesn't really make any sense. At this point, I was pretty close to giving up and dropping this video idea altogether when I stumbled across something that blew the whole investigation wide open. This is a map of the entire canonical world of the Witcher universe, and it turns out that the entirety of The Witcher 3, the huge map that we've been looking at, takes place here, in that tiny little box. And if you look to the right of that tiny little box, you'll see this long blue line going back to the east. That blue line is the Pontar River. So the portion we've been looking at is just the last little itty-bitty piece of it, which means we've been thinking about it all wrong. Here's a question for you. How mad would you be if we transitioned to the sponsorship right now? Not mad at all? Well, great. We actually haven't done a Factor sponsorship in a little while, which may or may not have been my fault for missing a video deadline. So in case you're unfamiliar, here's my pitch for Factor, the meal for a year. Factor, like Factor 70 promo code any. We're going to refer to all of these things as hydrological zones. Like Factor, there are tons that can be dealt and don't look called the part that starts skinny thing. Code AnyAustin FB50 at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free breakfast for a year. There you go. Anyway, so like I said, this long skinny thing is the Pontar River, and you can see that if you follow it back up to its beginning, it starts all the way up here in the mountains of the eastern edge of the world. So the entire part that we've been looking at is literally just the last tiny little bit of it, and that piece of context completely changes our analysis because the last portions of any river, what we would call the mouth of the river, are extremely complicated environments, and they often don't look like what you would think about when you think of a river. They can be estuaries, they can be deltas, deltas, they can be swamps, they can be tidal marshes or bays. There are tons of possibilities that depend on tons of complex factors. Factor, like Factor 70 promo code any. We're going to refer to all of these things as hydrological zones, and if we want to figure out whether or not all of the water in The Witcher 3 is realistic, we need to figure out what kind of hydrological zone it is. Thankfully, there's a clue in the game's dialogue if you listen very carefully. This big red man refers to the area in the game as the Pontar Delta.
Pontar Delta.
So that settles it. It's a delta. It's not. If you put up a side-by-side of this map with any river delta, it'll be clear right away that The Witcher 3 is not a delta, so that's some kind of strange mistake, which is fine. But what I think The Witcher 3 might be is something called a drowned estuary. A drowned estuary is basically what happens when you have a river flowing into an ocean, but then the ocean level goes up for some reason, like global warming, melting the ice, or whatever, and then the rising tides of the ocean flood the area that the river used to flow through. One of the consequences of this is that the tides of the ocean push back against the river, which, you guessed it, can slow the flow of the river to a crawl or even cause it to appear to stop flowing entirely. So in theory, if I'm right, the map of the rivers would look something like this. You would have the main river flowing down like this, out past Oxenfurt and into the ocean around Novigrad. This is honestly probably what the original path of the Pontar River would have looked like, and it would have been much smaller at the time before the ice caps and the melting and so on. But then the river started swelling, either because of melting snow or rain, which we saw because of the big bulb here, and it started overflowing into the low-lying areas like here and here, creating these new channels. Then you've got the ocean's rising tides pushing in against the flow of the river, which both causes this region down here to flood, but also slows the flow of the Pontar itself and creates all sorts of new little pockets of water scattered around the area. And that, folks, makes it a drowned estuary. It's a pretty compelling theory, but it is just a theory. In order to know if it's real, we need to find hard evidence in-game. So that's what we're going to do. In order to figure out if something is a drowned estuary, there's really 3 pieces of evidence you need to look for. Number 1, a weirdly shaped coastline with lots of fingers and pockets. On the map, you can see the coastline here is super irregular, especially down in this area in the southwestern portion of the map. There's all kinds of little inlets and cutouts, and when we look in-game, we can actually see some of those jagged edges, the little witch's fingers, cutting inland. So that's one piece of evidence down. The second piece of evidence that we want to look for is other signs of flooding further inland. Sea level rising typically means that ice is melting. That's really the only place new water can come from. And if ice is melting, that means the global is warming. And a warmer globe means snow and ice is melting from the mountains as well and making its way into the rivers, causing them to swell. We've already talked about the fact that the river seems to be swollen based on our observations earlier, but take a look down here as well. This area is a swamp called Crookback Bog. It's not a bog, it's a swamp. Bogs are not connected to rivers or oceans, but you know, the game, it's got something wrong, who cares? But if you follow the length of this swamp back towards the river, you can see that it's very nearly connected, and we can easily surmise that this bog is partially swamp. It's not a bog. This swamp is partially the result of the river occasionally overflowing into this area, keeping it wet and muddy and swampy. So that's 2 pieces of evidence. But the third thing we need to look for is a little more complicated, but it's kind of like the most crucial piece of evidence. We need to look for evidence of something called a saltwater intrusion. A saltwater intrusion is basically what it sounds like. Saltwater intruding. So if you've got water from the ocean flooding inland, it's bringing all of that salty water inland, which is bad because salt water kills plants, especially trees. But at the same time, you've got fresh water from the river pushing back out, which creates this battle between the two of them. That battle is the saltwater intrusion, more or less. I'm simplifying a lot. Evidence for a saltwater intrusion is subtle, but basically what we're going to be looking for is any place where a small pocket of trees or plants are dead or dying despite being near the water. And after just a few minutes of searching around The Witcher 3, I found it. Look at this. Look, do you see that? These trees are dead. These trees are not. This is salt water from the ocean. Holy shit. This is something you can see in multiple spots in the game, especially if you're looking along the shorelines nearer to the coast. Dead trees tend to be closer to the water, and trees further inland tend to be healthier. I feel like there's no way that this was on purpose, but I can't think of another reason why they would do this other than having thought through this. So it gets even better though, because you remember how we theorized that Crookback Bog, which is a swamp, not a bog, might be the result of fresh water flooding from the river competing with saltwater flooding from the ocean? The trees in Crookback Bog are also almost entirely dead. But in some pockets, they're still living, which means the saltwater is mostly winning, but not entirely. Do you see how impressive this is? The level of depth you need to have of your knowledge of the hydrology of a region to come to the conclusion that you need to intermittently replace the models of trees with models of dead trees, but not too many dead trees, just some in small pockets. It's really astounding, even though it was probably an accident, maybe. So with that, we found all 3 pieces of evidence, which means we can probably conclude that the land of The Witcher 3 is the most accurate representation of a drowned estuary in the history of video games. Congratulations, CD Projekt Red. It sounds like I'm joking, but I actually think this is pretty incredible. If only there was some way we could check to see if the rest of the Pontar River was realistic. Welcome to The Witcher 2, Assassins of Kings. This is the previous entry in the Witcher series of games released in 2011, and it turns out that this game is also set on that exact same wider world map we looked at earlier. You remember how I said that this little square was the main area of the world of The Witcher 3? Well, it turns out that The Witcher 2 is set across 4 different areas. It's set here, 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 and here. And if you look closely, you'll see every single one of these locations is along the Pontar River. No, that's not a joke. That's just an incredible coincidence. So, of course, I took it upon myself to buy and play The Witcher 2. And here's what I found. Right behind me is the first instance of the Pontar in The Witcher 2. This particular area is a place called La Valette Castle, and it's where the prologue of the game takes place. Now, The Witcher 2 is a much more restrictive game than Witcher 3. The environments are tighter, the paths are narrower, and you don't have this big open world to roam around in, so you can't just stroll down to the water and get a perfect look. But if I fire up a very clunky little cheat engine and mess with a free cam, I can kind of force the camera out there to see what's going on. So what do we actually see? Well, it looks like a fairly standard healthy river. Clear channels, steady currents, banks that look reasonably stable, nothing swampy or drowned or unusual here, at least not at first glance, which makes sense because we're further upstream, and that's kind of interesting because it gives us contrast. Downstream in The Witcher 3, we're seeing messy, brackish estuary conditions, but upstream here in The Witcher 2, it's just kind of a normal river. The second chapter of The Witcher 2 takes place a bit further up the river in a funny little fishing town called Flotsam. And here, the Pontar has taken on a much different aesthetic. It's a swamp. There's lots of fog, it's obviously humid and gross, probably warm, and up here the banks of the river look like they're less than 50 feet apart. And it's here that we find something very special. Our first official tributary, which is a source of water that contributes, hence the name, to a river. We can follow this little stream all the way back into the woods until we find its source at this waterfall here, and another stream coming from the opposite direction that flows into the main river, meaning that the flow diagram of all of this water looks like this. Here's a question for you that's going to blow your mind. Why do you think the swamp up here looks so much more lush and green and full of life compared to the swamp in The Witcher 3? What's the main difference? I'll give you a second. It's salt water. Somehow, even though this game came out 4 years earlier, The Witcher 2 is hydrologically consistent with The Witcher 3. Insane. Do you feel euphoric? I feel euphoric. And we're still not done. After Flotsam, we get to our third Pontar appearance in The Witcher 2, and this one is really majestic. This is a portion of the river along a military camp featuring small beaches where you can hop down and get your feet wet. Just like in Flotsam, this area also has one tributary, which is a small stream running inland a ways before disappearing up into the mountains behind some creepy blue fog. My favorite thing about this stream is that the NPCs sometimes fish along it, which makes it feel really real and kind of down to earth. I also just love how Xbox 360 games look. The most notable thing about the Pontar in this area is its size. It's humongous, probably even wider than it is in The Witcher 3, which is interesting. You see, typically, as rivers continue onwards towards their endpoint, they get bigger on account of more water keeps getting added to them as they pass nearby streams and lakes and so on. And once water has entered a river, it basically never leaves that river, with a few exceptions. I don't know if I've ever heard of a river on Earth where its widest point was hundreds of miles inland from its mouth. That just doesn't really make sense to me. So the idea that the river here in The Witcher 2 would be wider than it is in Flotsam, and maybe even wider than it is all the way in The Witcher 3, that's probably just a mistake. The only possible explanation is that what we're looking at here isn't a river, but a lake that's along the river. But none of the maps of the world have a lake on it, and everybody talks about the city here being along the Pontar, so it's most likely just an oversight. Oh well, you can't win them all. Theoretically, there's one more area in The Witcher 2 that takes place along the Pontar, but unfortunately, based on the maps and gameplay I saw, this particular area is restricted to inside of a walled city, which does not give you a view of the river. I could be wrong. I played the game for 4 days straight when I bought it. This was like a week ago, and I wasn't able to get far enough to check the last level for myself, but it seems likely that what we've seen is the very last available sections of this majestic river. You and I have laid eyes on the entirety of the Pontar River as it is available. Pretty cool. And yes, I did check to see if the Pontar was in The Witcher 1. It is not. I gotta say, it does feel pretty interesting to follow a river across multiple different video games. We've never done that before, and I'm not even sure that there are any other games that I can think of that take place along different sections of the same river. If there are, and I'm just forgetting about them, definitely let me know down below, right after you subscribe. So, to answer the question posed from the start of this video, where does the river in The Witcher 3 come from, and where does it go? Let's take a big picture look. The river starts all the way in the mountains to the east, flows past a lake, becoming a fairly standard river for a while. Eventually it gets quite wide like we saw, taking on lots more water from the surrounding hills and mountains, before hitting a flat plain, causing the water to spread out all over the place, which slows it way down, and allows all of that water to feed millions of beautiful plants and trees, creating a swamp around Flotsam, which eventually drains into a smaller canal through the mountains near La Valette Castle, and that continues on a ways, taking more water before eventually it hits the wide open area of The Witcher 3, spreading out, slowing down, and draining into the ocean. Pretty amazing that we were able to figure all of this out to some extent. Hopefully I didn't make any huge mistakes. I have no formal training in this. I'm just some guy who dropped out of college. The only sad part of this whole thing is that because the Pontar in The Witcher 3 is such a big, slow river without clear tributaries, we didn't get to make one of our classic river diagrams like we did for Breath of the Wild and Red Dead Redemption 2. And I love those diagrams. Thankfully, I've got a solution for that as well. If you were paying close attention, you might have noticed that there's a small set of streams in the upper right of the map here in The Witcher 3 that I've been ignoring, and that's because those streams are completely unconnected to everything we've been talking about so far. It's just a totally independent hydrological system. Well, okay, not totally independent, right? Because water evaporates and turns into rain, which fuels the water cycle, but it's physically independent. You know what I'm saying? What do you say we do a quick mapping of this whole system, just for old time's sake? We'll start over here, where we can find a small stream, one that's actually flowing for a change, coming out of these rocks and heading through some beautiful woods to the east. Eventually, it goes over a waterfall, kind of an odd-looking waterfall to be honest, and then through another really lovely area, past a small fishing village, and into a big lake. One of the funny things about this area is that right where the stream meets the lake, you can really clearly see the dividing line between the flowing water and the static water, which is one of two very funny video game mistakes that this area has. The second one is just a little bit later. The area around this lake is awesome. If you ever get the itch to just wander around a little cohesive community in a video game, I think this is a great place to do it because there's just tons of cool details. But we're just focused on the hydrology. Continuing clockwise around the lake, we find another stream heading into the lake. This one basically heads straight up into the hills before going off the edge of the map. On the eastern edge of the lake is another stream, but this one is flowing out of the lake down into another lake, which is off the edge of the map as well, but that we can see if we open up the map itself. On the south side of the lake is the biggest tributary in this system, which is a stream that heads straight back into a marshy area that eventually starts way up in this little town. Off of that stream, we've got two more tributaries. The one from the east comes down over a waterfall and then back up into the mountains off the edge of the map. Seems to be a running theme. And the other one does something I love. It goes way up into the mountains, eventually cresting over a hill, and on top of that hill we find nothing. The water is just pooled in an incredibly shallow pond. It's not even really a pond, it's more like a puddle. Never mind the fact that this puddle doesn't have enough water to actually supply the stream that comes off of it. It's also totally inexplicable why it flows down the east side of the mountain as opposed to the west side. It should definitely go over the west side first. It's clearly way closer to the slope there. Maybe they just put this one thing in the game so that there would be at least one incredible wrong detail to nitpick for my video. Maybe they predicted I would become a YouTuber 10 years after the game came out, and then they wanted to be ready. And then lastly, there's one more really cool tributary to this lake. It's an old-timey man-made dam that's being used to create a small pond on this guy's property and to allow a consistent trickle of water for the folks down below. So this is how the one area with actually flowing streams in The Witcher 3 looks on the map. It's pretty satisfying, right? It's pretty good. This game is just absolutely packed with wonderful world-building details that I could spend another half hour going over, but I'll be honest, I am exhausted. The Red Dead 2 video we did right before this one was a ton of work, and I thought this one would be less involved, but it turns out that I just get excited about too many things. Oh, and also, you remember that whale skeleton that I pointed out at the beginning of the video and then never mentioned again? Knowing what we've talked about in this video today, how do you suppose that it got all the way over there? Use your noggin, because it's really cool once you realize it, but I'm going to let you figure it out. I'm Ennie Austin. Thanks for watching.
Everybody likes me, everybody likes me, everybody likes me. Everybody likes me, everybody likes me, everybody likes me.
Oh my god, Berți, facem, vorbim. Da, de la miere. Bă, serios că de la miere. Și nu o dormit astăzi de după amiază la ora la care trebuia, o întârziat. Și acum o să adormă foarte târziu. Mai mă dai? Nu mai îmi dai. Mai mă dai? Și asacă în loc de acasă. Incredibil, atât de dulce când zice.
Do you feel like people are talking about God and spiritual matters more than they did 10 years ago? I mean, clearly they are. Where's that going?
I saw you with a guest a few weeks ago talk about, this is well known. I talked to everybody that's done it. I haven't done it. Almost everyone that takes DMT, either from the toad or the ayahuasca plant, these creatures show up that look like court gestures or space aliens, different things, and say, there are too many humans. You need to wipe out the population. Then you'll become gods. It's the same message. And they've had groups of people. They've done studies.
You need to wipe out. You need to kill people so you can become God?
Yes, you need to depopulate and you need to transcend.
Do you know people who've heard that message?
Oh, absolutely. They've had whole groups and studies that have had group hallucinations of this.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not the most spiritually sensitive person. I'm hardly a theologian. But if some demon is telling you to kill people so you can become God, like, we can say that's bad, right?
Absolutely. And the people that then, you were talking about tech heads who, microdose and are big in hallucinations and big into hallucinogenics. When they get more advanced and deep into it, and then most of them have talked about this, then the things start giving them more ideas and explaining the system they're going to build, the AI, the takeover, and this new species, and how, again, you're going to transcend death. And so we've all got to have a larger question there. So they say the devil's greatest trick was convincing the world he didn't exist. I think that's his second biggest trick. I think convincing the world that good doesn't exist is the devil's biggest trick.
Yes. Can you flat? I think that I'm not exactly sure what you're saying, but I know that you're telling the truth right now. Can you?
Well, convincing us that there isn't anybody good and that you don't have power and that it's all over and we are the Borg, you will be assimilated. The biggest trick is hopelessness when we're promoting truth and justice and honor, and we can't just dial into demons and fallen angels. We can also dial into God and get that message. But you first have to recognize that good and evil exist.
Yes.
And once you recognize that we are ethereal beings, that we are just manifesting ourselves in the third dimension, that all these people that are even atheists have these near-death experiences that come back with the same message. I mean, I personally in my life, have had so many times where I'm literally told something and it comes true and it just comes from God. And so I know this is real. We are a lot more complex than just what our eyes and ears and taste and touch pick up. And when you really actually study the globalists, none of them are atheists. They're into the occult.
Exactly.
And they believe they're interfacing, even at Skull and Bones. At Yale, they get in these coffins for days. They try to get these spirits to come into them. They try to channel these spirits. You've got the heads of Skull and Bones there in the last few days seeing who's able to interface with this. These are real rituals that are part of activating parts of the mind so that people can see past the veil. And again, they've now been able with robots and computers and wires in the brain, as Elon's talked about decades ago, this was already done. Your eyes narrow the light spectrum because there's so much going on that if you saw the infrared and everything else, it'd be too confusing. But now with hallucinogens and other things, they have been able to prove that people can actually see past the veil into basically other dimensions. And so that's really what this is. And we have to admit to ourselves that what we see and taste and touch and everything is a very small piece of actually what's going on. And that's that wider world. And people have to, once they understand that there is this wider battle going on, then you realize, oh my God, God's real. I better choose God or I better choose the devil. But if people are kind of embedded into this and just grow up in it, and just with the corporate media and life, they get trained into the evil side, never knowing they really had a choice. But almost everybody, if they're given a choice early enough, will choose God that right way. The problem is the system on earth knows that. So the priest class in Christianity or Islam or Judaism, any of it, most of it's bad priests, bad churches who know the power's there, know people are looking for God, know they're seeking. So they're there basically to get the power from you instead of you basically transcending spiritually. And so that's why Christ talked about the relationship with God is personal.
Yes.
And the kingdom of God is within us. The New Agers go, oh, you are God. No, kingdom of God is within us. We're made in God's image. We have the potential to know God, to interface with God. That's worship God. And then through that, begin to transcend to a higher consciousness, interfacing with God, not God, but with God, and then part of God.
So the gift is to see good. Like in that, I do think that's the trick. Because, no one needs a tutorial on evil. It's all around us. It's super obvious. It no longer disguises itself. Abortion for the sake of abortion? Like, what is that? Well, it's human sacrifice. It's just Canaanite. And
the DNC doing abortions inside of
completely for the sake of abortion, not to improve the life of the girl or she's a 14-year-old rape victim. It's just like, no, abortion is inherently good because it's killing a person. That is all out in the open now. Nobody is confused about its existence. What you don't get a lot of is the recognition that good is a more than equal. It's a larger and opposing force. God is bigger than Satan. And you don't get that sense. Like nobody talks about that. You don't see it. How do you find that?
So many people purposely get turned off of the system by going to a church, whether it's Catholic, Protestant, any of it. And I'm a very empathic person. So growing up, I would feel at churches and you get invited here or there, really creeped out, not by the parishioners, but by the people in the system that are trained. Because
that is for sure. Gosh,
where I feel the strongest demonic energy is in a lot of these big churches and a lot of these big things, because that's where the devil's sitting his forces, and it's energetic. And so, but Christ criticized the Pharisees, Sadducees constantly. He said, you go pray up on the hill in front of everybody. You talk about how perfect you are all day, but really you're of your father, the devil, in the synagogue of Satan. Or you call it a black Sabbath or whatever. And it happens in Christian churches, it happens in Judaism, it happens everywhere. And if you look at later Judaism, it's not just the Old Testament, the Torah, there's over 30 other books that they say, the rabbinical teachings are just as important. And it runs the gamut from some sects that you could call very pious and close to God to others that are outright Satanism. And you see that in the Christian denominations, all the things that call themselves Christian, that really aren't. Christ said, beware things, call themselves of God but are not, or the synagogue of Satan. Well, there weren't Christian churches then, the churches were synagogues, but it goes for synagogues, churches, anything that you got to be really close to God and the Holy Spirit lest you be deceived. And so that's really where it all is. And it comes down to your spiritual inclination. But I just recommend the people personal relationship with God, praying to God, saying, I want to be good. I want to recognize truth. I want to know what truth is. I want to open myself up to you. I'm an imperfect. I repent for what I've done, and I want you to cleanse me and then show me the truth, and then show me how to be a better person, and then show me after that what the mission is you have for me. And literally, if you do that through a process, it may take days, may take months, may take years, then the adventure begins. And then all of a sudden you're being given like intel and stuff, like, and like literally just, you have to learn to go with it. It's never wrong. And it's God and it's there, and it's your personal relationship. And then obviously people get this relationship. They all want to teach other people it. And God says, get together in groups. That's great. But Christ didn't try to go get the Sadducees, the Pharisees, and the priest class to join him. He said their minds were closed. He went to the prostitutes and the tax collectors and the robbers and the thieves because they were already outcast. But that's where he found people that were already under evil's control but weren't arrogant about it, who were looking for a way out. And so, I mean, I think that's really what it comes down to, is a spiritual relationship with God. And there are some real churches and things.
But don't you find that? I know I have found that you see sparks of this in the most unlikely people. If you put a list on paper of the people in your life, I won't ask you to say it out loud, but who you really trust, or you talk to and you groove with them and they like know exactly what you're saying. You know, they are on the same wavelength in some deep way. It's not the people you would expect.
Here's something you may not have known. Back in 2015, the Congress of the United States repealed something called the Country of Origin Labeling Act. Now, why is this relevant to you? Well, it means, among other things, that when you buy beef at the supermarket that says made in the absolute lie.
People get into media because they want to be movie stars. Most people become a preacher because they want to, because they want to be famous and have power. And then you'll find like just the most just normal, unassuming person that has all this great knowledge.
Yes.
Because they already have all the power. They don't need power. And so it's just
they're connected to God's power. Is that what you mean?
Absolutely. And I mean, it's quite the quest, because so many people are lost, and really it's an inside job. They've got to somehow open up the channel to God, and then they'll see everything that's happening. And then God will give them a message and a mission of what they should do. And I don't want to say all churches are bad, because there's a lot of good people in the churches regardless. It's just that the last 120 years, the Rockefeller Foundation, with the ecumenical movement and all of that, has really moved into the churches. And we see that with all the rainbow flags and all, the famous cathedrals in England now festooned with all the leftist, graffiti and garbage. I mean, it's been captured, is my point. But people can't get turned off by that and say, well, God's dead. No. Satan has occupied the so-called temples, but God isn't in the temple. God is inside us.
Do the temples get torn down? Like, do the last vestiges of the old civilization get erased and Christians start anew? Like, what is this? How does this unfold?
I think that's up to how God influences everybody. I think we could, over time, retake those things. But the Satanists and the leftists and the power hungry, they think if they can take over the skin of something and occupy it,
yes,
that they can fool people that are looking for God. But that's actually triggering the Great Awakening. So I think some of the buildings get torn down, some of the buildings get retaken. But at the end of the day, God's temple is with us.
It doesn't matter.
So it doesn't matter.
Right. So Westminster Abbey is not where God lives. No, that's so important to remember. Do you get discouraged? Do you ever think it's hopeless?
No, because it's all in God's plan. But I do get discouraged for individuals who kind of fall to evil. You see good people that fight evil for a while, but they get put under pressure, they get attacked, they turn to the dark side.
Boy, have I seen that.
Because it gets them ahead for a little while, and then you later see them destroyed.
Yeah, always. And their families destroyed too.
Yeah, so, and I get tempted by evil. Sometimes like a devil jumps into me. And I mean, by that, I'm just busy, I'm tired, I'm whatever, and I catch myself, and I'm like, whoa. For a minute, I was like, turning into everything I'm trying to fight. So I'm not up here on some high horse, like I've got all the answers and I'm perfect. Because anybody empathic can, tune into different frequencies and things that are happening. But at the end of the day, your heart's what matters. King David did a lot of bad things and sent his best buddy off to get killed because he was lusting after his wife, but he really repented. And God said, you're a man after my own heart. So at the end of the day, it's where you point your soul. And so many Christians and some people that love God have guilt. The devil's the accuser. And so, I made a mistake. I wasn't perfect. I'm not really a Christian. I'm not really good. No, as long as you mean well and are doing the best you can, you're going to stumble, you're going to have problems, and you're going to have issues. But it doesn't matter, because that's why God's there to help you. And you just got to reach out to God and say, I can't do this alone. I need you. And I think people just need to say, I need God. I give it to God. Not, oh, I'm going to lay down and just trust in God. Some of the churches, thank God they're coming out with microchips and Mark of the Beast. That means Jesus is coming back soon. Well, I was talking to a police officer today we saw out here, and he's like, well, just thank God Jesus is coming back soon. Well, if you actually read Revelation, it doesn't actually read like that. We have to go through this whole project, and then this happens. And so...
And it's also like explicit throughout the New Testament. You're not going to know. You're not God. You don't get to predict when this happens. It comes like a thief in the night. And so
exactly. And I'm not putting him down for being like, praise God.
No,
Jesus is coming back soon. My point is that
Încearcă să-mi oprească YouTube-ul.
it says the Antichrist will wage war against the saints and overcome them.
Right.
So there's a big, and then we lose in the third quarter, we win in the fourth quarter, because God's going to test us.
Yeah.
So everybody's like, oh, thank God we won't be here. That's only been around Schofield Bible and all that, like 150 years. Nobody ever taught that, not in Catholicism, Protestantism.
It's absurd.
Nobody ever taught. I mean, the Antichrist has got guillotines cutting Christians' heads off.
Right.
So how are they all raptured if they're getting their heads cut off? So see, and so.
Well, the whole thing, I mean, it's obviously a heresy, but more than that, it's such a clear usurpation of God's power. It's like, I've figured out exactly when this is going to happen and how it's going to go. It's like, no,
well, what happened to all the disciples? Almost all of them got killed.
Yeah, I know.
Did they get raptured out?
No, I know. The whole thing is, it's sad. And by the way, really good people fall for it. Really good. Some of my favorite and most decent people fall for it. I'm not attacking anyone at all, but it's clearly not true. And it leads them it leads them to defend like murder and stuff.
While we're on theology, exactly. While we're on theology, what do you think of Peter Thiel's whole Antichrist lecture?
In some sense, the Antichrist as an idea is something that really comes into being in the world after Christ. And so there's a lot of things about it that are mysterious. In some ways, the Antichrist copies Christ. The Antichrist pretends to be greater than Christ, hyper-Christian, ultra-Christian, and then maybe only ultimately, deeply anti-Christian. You can think of it as a system, where maybe communism is a one-world system. So it can be an ideology or a system. And then of course, you can also think of it as Newman did, where it's sort of the final dictator of the one world state, where it's still, you stress it more as a person. You can think of it as a type, a system, a person. How does this sort of world takeover actually happen?
I haven't seen it. I have talked to him about it at great length. I think it's really interesting. I didn't really get to the punchline on that. So the question everyone, has is, okay, who's the Antichrist? I think maybe there's more than one. I don't know.
It's a system.
Right. So I would just say I'm not taking a pass on the question. I would, but I don't, this is so far out of my depth. I mean, I'm just sort of at the I'm for Jesus stage of things, but I'm glad that there's a conversation about it. I welcome all conversations about the transcendent because I think it's what matters.
Well, exactly. Because I love a comedian, Tim Dillon. He's like, this guy's got all this cashless control grid or this, and then he wants to know about the Antichrist. Well, he grew up really Christian. People don't know, Peter Thiel, and then now he's wanting to have a debate about it. I don't think the Antichrist wants you to have a debate about the Antichrist.
I think that's probably right. And
Yeah.
just in general, it's worth talking about and reminding ourselves and others that this is just like a small piece of what's real. We're just seeing a tiny fraction of reality. Like the spiritual world, that realm is as real as, the table we're sitting at. And people lose sight of that. I lose sight of that.
Exactly. So we should be having not just Peter Thiel, everybody, Donald Trump, you and I, we should be discussing Revelation, what's described is really happening now.
Yeah.
So we should be having, oh God, Peter Thiel's the Antichrist. He's talking about the Antichrist. What? Because some people are like, well, what's he doing talking about the Antichrist? Well, I think we should all be talking about it.
Well, because I think the temptation is to just ignore the whole
Really?
topic. I mean, that's the world that I grew up in, where it was just never discussed.
Devil doesn't exist. It was just one.
100%. People's sex lives were a frequent topic of conversation. Everyone was super liberal about that. Like no one was embarrassed of anything except any question that transcended the material was just considered, like death was considered totally off limits because it pointed to these obvious questions like what happens then? And so I really welcome that. I think all healthy societies face death.
Exactly. People go, oh, you're a Peter Thiel dick writer. No, you should be having a discussion about Antichrist. Why aren't you? And so what I haven't seen the presentation.
So people, I'm sorry, I missed a lot because I do think the internet's demonic. Sorry, I know I work on the internet, but the whole thing makes me uncomfortable. So I haven't seen any of this, but people are attacking Thiel for this.
Oh, I mean, it's like, oh yeah, it's like they haven't even found out what he's saying. I've read some of the articles. I tried to get tickets, but it was already sold out. But I wanted to see his view on it. But all I know is that we should be having a discussion about the Antichrist. I mean, we're having one already here. And so what is the Antichrist? I think you need to know the enemy. I think you need to know.
Well, one obvious hallmark from my, frequent but very untutored reading of those books in the New Testament is that the Antichrist reserves the powers of God for himself. He pretends to be God. I'm all powerful.
Exact.
I can, worship me. And by the way, that's most leaders in the world through all time. But those are signs of evil. You are not God. No one can worship
totally
you.
agree.
No one can worship you. And the shitty things you do on earth do not make you powerful. They destroy you, actually. And so that it's all described in Jesus' 40 days in the wilderness where Satan offers him these deals and he declines all of them. But that's like whether you're a Christian or not, that is the template for life. Oh, if I just do this, I'll win this election. I break some eggs to make the omelet. No, dude, you're going to be destroyed for that. Probably in this life, certainly in the next. And that's just real. That's just a fact.
I agree. And it's nothing but healthy to have a discussion about that.
100%. So I guess the one thing I don't like about the Antichrist conversation is it makes it sound like.
Wait a minute. I just got this. M-am închis? Da. Nu, mă uitam la un podcast. N-au voie să mă închidă de pe un podcast, că nu e nimic ca copyright acolo. Dar e vorba de Dumnezeu și de lucruri de genul ăsta. Și atunci nu le convine. Aha. Ai voie să tăci, dar doar ce vor ei. Că nu am nicio muzică, nu am... Adică mă uit la un podcast între doi oameni. N-ar trebui să mă oprească, știi? Dar, asta face. Adică nu vor să se propage informația asta, că, forțele răului lucrează. Asta e ideea. Da, file, ci că pe Twitch am primit nu știu ce, habar n-am ce. Like clockwork. Stream for 12 unique days in the last 30 days. No, deci asta. Da. Ok. Cum? Da, da. O să dea drumul și pe YouTube, numai că trebuie să treacă timp. Și o să treacă timp după ce termin video, știi? Adică, da. Average of 75 viewers.
You know, Anton LaVey is going to show up and like start murdering people. And I think it's much more present than that. I mean, I think literally Antichrist means against Christ. Well, who would that include? Most leaders in the world, they hate Jesus.
They do. Well, look what Elon is starting to come around.
You want to make people upset? Start talking about Jesus. I just did this at Charlie Kirk's memorial.
Da,
I
exact.
did like some 6-minute talk about Jesus, only Jesus. That's it. I was like, I said to my wife in the shower that morning, I was like, I'm not getting political at all. I'm not going to attack anybody. I just want to be as like unifying as I can and consistent with what Charlie really cared about as I can and what he really cared about.
They called it anti-Semitic.
It was insane. Which was of course absurd, but leaving aside the absurdity, like the emotion was real. It was totally real. Like, oh my gosh, that's outrageous that you said that. It's like
great speech. I watched it.
Oh, I don't. It was just short, but all I did was recount the gospel. But that's the most controversial thing you can do, and everyone's happy to talk about God all the time. God, spiritual. This Jesus, man, that's a no-go zone. Why is that?
Absolutely,
because it's real. That's why.
No,
and it just triggers the fuck out of people.
No.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.
So there's something.
Da. Deci, tocmai ce m-a oprit iar pe YouTube, o să dea drumul la un moment dat, căde. M-a oprit că ascultam un podcast despre Isus și Antichrist. Carl Tucker. Da. Deci Tucker Carlson și
Alex Jones, ladies
Alex
and gentlemen.
Jones. Da. Știi, de multe ori gândești atât de multe lucruri. Încât nici nu mai ai cuvinte să vorbești. Nu, gata, au dat drumul pe YouTube.
One of the most
A fost. Le place, da, să vorbim despre jocuri, să vorbim dacă e vorba despre Isus. Sau despre chestii amuzante. Ne. Cu adevărat, faine.
Why
Nah.
Why?
Oh boy.
Boy, oh boy, we have some interesting things happening in Egypt. This is Tony. Hope you're all doing well. And the timing is very, very strange. We have this massive music. I guess you would say music. This is like some sort of weird AI digital light show at the Great Pyramid. It appears to be, of course, a ritual of sorts. I don't know if you guys knew about this. And when you start to look into this, you start to find a lot of very strange things. Our president actually is going through Egypt right now. He's going through the Middle East. The timing is interesting. We have also all these weird things going on in the world at the same time that seem to be spiritual. We see spiritual warfare going on right now in the world. Check out this weird concert where they're showing some sort of...
Nu, s-a oprit meciul încă. Yeah, încearcă.
Sort of being breaking out. And if you follow my... Like, what? Are you serious? Yeah, the bottomless pit is under the Great Pyramid. I'm like, okay. So I was like, that was kind of weird thing to hear from God. I'm like, what the heck's this? I went and looked it up. And I found out, whoa, actually there is some ancient writing saying this. This is weird. Are they actually trying to conjure, of course, something up from the Great Pyramid? And of course, I'm not going to play the audio because who knows if they have a copyright on there. I've seen how they've done that before. Just notice how the Great Pyramid disappears, reappears. You see that in their production there, their light show, their virtual reality hologram projection that you'll see in a minute here. I'm going to show you it, of a being, a giant being coming through this portal here. And these are the two pillars which represent a portal. We have also the lights in the formation of the sigil of Lucifer. Let me see if I can show you what I'm talking about. Here is these two poles, two pillars. As you can see there. All right, so here's the thing trying to break out. What is trying to break out? Oh, well, I told you what's underneath the Great Pyramid. Some fallen watchers from the Book of Enoch, for example. Maybe some of those guys are underneath there. Yeah, actually, that's what Aleister Crowley thought. He was actually met by a being in the Great Pyramid. And then later, he literally had the devil come to him as I was. And... yeah, that's what was literally told to him. So, I wonder if it's true. Yeah, actually, I think it is true. We have, and I'm going to get into all this. We're going to get into a ton of stuff. I'm going to show you a lot more as we get into this. We're going to get into also where I think all this is going. We got some insane stuff being said by Sam Altman. First, I'm going to mention Food Supply, 25-year shelf life. Link is in the description. 4 months worth for $6.97. It's actually 3 months and an extra month. Link is in the description. You never know what's next. Just in case there's a Terminator 2 coming our way, and without Arnold Schwarzenegger, you might want to get that just in case. Considering what Sam Altman said, I got to show you, AI could kill us all, but he still wants to work. No power. You might want to get this book just in case. Link is in the description. $37 to get the printed version. So, of course, Sam Altman was in an interview recently with the Tuckmeister. Actually, Great Pyramid right now. That might be a reason why we don't really trust it. Yeah, I don't know. It looks a little strange. Something coming out of from underneath the Great Pyramid. Sort of giant looking. I don't know. Could that be a demon? Could that be a fallen watcher of some sort? Are you trying to pull something out from underneath that thing? In the spiritual realm, you only built a portal over it. I don't know. It's kind of strange, actually. Maybe that's what's going on here. And I don't know. It's kind of strange, actually. Maybe. That's what's going on here. And of course, we also had another video go viral. We're going to get back into that in a second here, the whole Great Pyramid. Apparently, this just went viral yesterday. This guy's got proof that Mandela effect is real. He apparently put it in a safe. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the best. Doesn't have the best camera.
The other thing, whatever, blah 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 blah. Let me pull these out first. So I have the Shazam video that they say never existed. Which is Mandela effect number 1.
You can't focus.
Get this to focus. I don't know why it's not focusing.
Now the guy can't use the camera.
I have the Berenstain Bears, not Berenstain Bears. Which is Mandela effect number 1. Well, let me get this to focus. Not Berenstain Bears. It's the actual book. And then I also have an original pair of Fruit of the Loom. Hold on. Fruit of the Loom with the cornucopia. You can see the cornucopia on there. They say it never existed.
So you can see there he has 3 of the main ones that people talk about a lot, and he has apparently evidence for each of the 3. And I've seen other people talking about this as well, that this viral video showing physical artifacts, and I've seen them actually before. I've seen other ones just like this. Now this is what he's referring to in regards to Fruit of the Loom. The brand says that there are no Fruit of the Loom with a cornucopia on it, that it's always looked like this. But actually, there was even a guy who found an old newspaper cut, in microfiche, at the library, found an old newspaper. I don't know what year this is, 1960 or something, where it shows the evidence that indeed they did have a cornucopia. Let's see if we can check this out real quick.
News article, October 31st, 1995. Cornucopia of job cuts, describing cuts in a Fruit of the Loom company. This tagline improbable, and this logo is reality. Twitter user communicated Fruit of the Loom company. Is it true the logo never had a cornucopia? Response. The cornucopia never existed. Even some of us are still convinced it's a thing though. Some employees have retained their previous memories. Article by Billy Cox. The thing mentioned, Sam Wright made 120 to 140 television commercials for Fruit of the Loom underwear. Then goes on to say, Fruit of the Loom logo was a cornucopia swollen with an apple, green grapes, purple grapes, and their green leaves. Keyword.
So you got another one. You got 2 right there.
Word here. Book, Morning 3 one-act plays by Israel Horovitz. Page 78. Fruit of the Loom uses an insignia, a cornucopia, I think. Published 1969. Book, Brothers Cave by David James Duncan. Published June 1st, 1996. Page 440. This is too good. Pointed back at wire cutters have been wrapped in, then held up. It was a pair of baby blue Fruit of the Loom boxer shorts. Skip down. He pondered the little horn of plenty on the label, snapped and unsnapped the 2 buttons, turned a short.
So you can see there lots of different examples of people talking about the cornucopia. Probably 8 years
Mandela
ago.
effect.
The whole thing with the Mandela effect, which is really interesting because the first time it was ever introduced, the entire idea of the Mandela effect, was 2009. In 2009. Okay, you see that? I don't know where my page went. I had it open earlier. When did CERN, of course, turn on? 2008. You see that? Isn't that a little strange? So the first time that thing ran was 2008. 2009 was the first, of course, mention of the Mandela effect. Makes you wonder if that's 100% related or not. I also have my own. I'm sure you got some as well. I remember Billy Graham dying and he wasn't dead. I remember him being dead, and then I saw like a show where he was still alive. I'm like, what? Wait, what? I thought he was dead. What's going on here? He's alive still? That was one for me. Also Keanu Reeves. And I actually found articles on the internet saying what I was thinking too, by the way, about Keanu Reeves. I thought Keanu Reeves was gay. Like literally gay, like a gay dude. And biggest particle smash they've ever. I'm actually curious if there's any.
This is Markarth, Traveler. Safest city in the Reach.
A bit of jewelry for your journey home? Oh, this pendant would look lovely on my sister.
I'd die for my... You're inside. This is Markarth, Traveler.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Până la un moment dat am crezut, după aia n-am mai crezut.
FBI.
This is a big one. I finished Witcher 3, the base game, about 115-hour playthrough, and I have some final thoughts for my review. I mean, I still have to play the DLCs, but before
2020.
Tucker Carlson interviewed Sam Altman. I really do not know much about the guy other than thighs with someone, because you know what it feels like to be on the other side of that. And it also goes with sympathy. You may not be able to have a memory of walking in those shoes, but you can put yourself there mentally and go, yeah, that sucks. I've never had to deal with that, but that sucks. This guy doesn't go anywhere near those two emotions, which is really odd to begin with.
I mean, like everybody else, I think the environment I was brought up in probably is the biggest thing. Like my family, my community, my school, my religion, probably that.
The other thing, as you notice, as he talks,
Community, my school, my religion.
this is just so
probably
tight.
that.
His arms are not coming out. They're like little penguin arms, like he's attached his elbows to the side of his chest and only his hands can sit there and move around, like he's licked Claw Daddy. This spine, when I talk about the spine, it's straps to the top of the head, comes all the way down the neck, through the chest, all the way down to your butt. But Altman doesn't move.
Almost.
And you got somebody who's that squirrely, especially to an interviewer who is really trying hard not to offend him. You just saw the lengths he's going to give a challenging question in the most delicate way possible. It's like, well, okay, this is really odd. I mean, why have we not calmed down yet? At this point in the interview, besides the pre-interview stuff of chit-chatting and getting to know each other a little bit so you're calmer, they're like, 16, 20 minutes into it, and this is besides setting up that they cannot calm down. It's a little odd.
My school, my religion, probably that.
So then you sit there and see he's got the negative head shake as he makes the list of where his moral framework came from, well, I guess, and you see a lot of negative in it. It's like, well, why are we sitting there doing this? And not in the sense of no, but in the sense of I don't know. And you see the positive in the end, and not positive in the sense of a yes, but positive in the sense of that's all I got, period, the end.
Do you ever think, which is, I mean, I think that's a very American answer, like everyone kind of feels that way. But in your specific case, since you said these decisions rest with you, that means that the milieu in which you grew up and the assumptions that you imbibed over years are going to be transmitted to the globe to billions of people. That's like a big thing.
I want to be clear. I view myself more as like a... I think
You sit there and watch this dude. His jaw is moving, no sound's coming out.
I think
Here it is, right there. He's like, it's like there's a malfunctioning in the brain. Now, when I watch Elon, it's like, I think he's a little autistic, which is why we love to sit there and go, Autist, unite! But when I see this guy, I mean, that whole jaw thing just reminds me of a snake. Everything in this gentleman is unmoving. He's so tight, he has to flex his jaw. He's not looking in anywhere appropriate to his brain for real answers of himself. He's not giving real answers that are of himself. He's thinking about answers that will be appealing to you. I don't think you could get an honest interview out of this person because he's too worried about what others will think.
The world, like our user base, is going to approach the collective world as a whole. And I think what we should do is try to reflect the moral, I don't want to say average, but the like collective moral view of that user base. There's plenty of things that ChatGPT allows that I personally would disagree with. But I don't.
So now we can look up into the sky. There's plenty of things that ChatGPT allows. All right, okay. So now we finally access another part of the brain, and it's something technically that he can get behind. ChatGPT, whatever, chat guy allows it. I don't agree with it. People like him irritate me. Could you get out of snake mode and come to mammals? Hell, I'd take squirrel at this point. Let's move on to the whole suicide.
Person who holds the copyright?
I mean, we train on publicly available information, but we don't, like, people are annoyed with us all the time because we have a very conservative stance on what ChatGPT will say in an answer.
Right.
And so if something is even like close, you know, like they're like, hey, this song can't still be in copyright, you got to show it. And we kind of famously are quite restrictive on that.
So you had complaints from one programmer who said you guys were basically stealing people's stuff and not paying them, and then he wound up murdered. What was that?
All right, watch this muscle line here. This muscle line here.
He wound up murdered. What was that?
That's a lot of flex for supposedly with, he's just pretty much going in the positive movement to, yeah, he wound up murdering, like a yes, I agree with your statement. But the whole body is tensing and go down. That's a sad thing. Something of that. We get flex in both arms and the pendulum of the entire spine up to the back of the neck into the positive. Like, really? Wow, this is a lot of stress. How do you approach this, Tucker? How delicate can you make this challenging question be?
Also a great tragedy. He committed suicide.
Here we go again. The head falls. The shoulders do not fall. Just the head falls forward. Stress. And what have I said about stress? Stress is a very large indicator. When the mouth lies, the body stresses about it. It comes out in many ways. And this guy, well, he is a ball of nerves.
Also a great tragedy. He committed suicide.
Now on this one, watch the eyes. He's going to do a prolonged blink. Your prolonged blink is the avoidance of eye contact to another person when you're saying something that you actually disagree with. There's a reason why people say, look me in the eye and say that.
Do you think he committed suicide?
I really do.
And in that response, a quick coming at you from the side, do you believe what's coming out of my mouth? Because it's a challenge. Tucker's giving him very good eye contact, pretty much saying, I'm watching you. I'm watching to see if you're going to tell me the truth. And he apparently can't lie point blank to you. I guess that's one positive about Altman and all of this. He's going to have to be, well, we're not going to say squirrely. He hasn't reached the mammal stage yet, but he's got to be snaky about it.
Do you think he committed suicide?
I really do.
Have you looked?
This was like a friend of mine. This is like a guy that...
So we have the believe me look, which is pretty much the eyes just open really wide, and they're not giving emphasis. Shows up in the forehead, has a lot of stress lines. The eyes are open really loud, and they're not giving emphasis, which emphasis is basically the eyebrow goes up and down with the word. It's emphasizing a word and then comes right back down. This stays high because of the subject, because of the stress. And you also have the hands. They're opened and open to himself. So he's holding this subject towards himself and cradling it. Like, why would you do that? Why would you be so delicate with this subject? Believe me, so much stress.
A guy that, and not a close friend, but this is someone that worked at OpenAI for a very long time. I was really shaken by this tragedy. I spent a lot of time trying to, read everything I could, as I'm sure you and others did too, about what happened. It looks like a suicide to me.
So then you see the eyes close again. You see the weird little flutter. It looks like a suicide to me.
Look like a suicide.
It was a gun he had purchased. It was this is like gruesome to talk about, but I read the whole
And then we start using our words because we want to get out of talking about this. It was a gun that he purchased. You see the body go back and away and the believe me look. Oh God, it's really hard for me to talk about this. All right, now let's just get to that juicy question we all want to see.
Sorry. Medical record, does it not look like one to you?
No, he was definitely murdered, I think. There were signs of a struggle, of course. The surveillance camera, the wires had been cut. He had just ordered takeout food, come back from a vacation with his friends on Catalina Island. No indication at all that he was suicidal, no note, and no behavior. He had just spoken to a family member on the phone. And then he's found dead with blood in multiple rooms. So that's impossible. Seems really obvious he was murdered. Have you talked to the authorities about it?
I have not talked to the authorities about it.
And his mother claims he was murdered on your orders.
Do you believe that?
I'm not.
Okay, well, that's a form of deflection. Do you believe that?
On your orders.
Do you believe that?
This is so fast because unfortunately they cut really quickly. But
on your orders.
Watch this corner on both sides after he says, do you believe that?
Do you believe that?
It is the slightest raise, like a little Cheshire cat smile. Do you believe that? Dude, that's where the creep factor just goes through the roof. Ain't nobody I've seen has got it on him.
I'm asking.
You just said it, so do you?
And he's still smiling.
Do you believe that?
I think that it is.
And he still smiled. You saw it again, the flex in the mouth right before it cuts to him. And after he says, do you believe that again? So he turns the tables on him verbally, and then he's smiling about it. That is not what innocent people do.
Worth looking into. And I mean, if a guy comes out and accuses your company of committing crimes, I have no idea if that's true or not, of course, and then is found killed and there are signs of a struggle, I don't think it's worth dismissing it. I don't think we should say, well, he killed himself when there's no evidence that the guy was depressed at all. I think, and if he was your friend, I would think you would want to speak to his mom or...
I did offer. She didn't want to.
So...
I will say, the stress has not gone away. He's still up and down. It is not a loose bobblehead. Everything is tight, from the top of the head down to his butt. Tight. He goes in the positive, but he's now giving direct eye contact. There's no mincing words here. This is a challenge. I'm a good guy. Can't you see my Cheshire smile?
So, do you feel that, you know, when people look at that and they're like, you know, it's possible that happened, do you feel that that reflects the worries they have about what's happening here? Like, people are afraid that this is like...
I haven't done too many interviews where I've been accused of like...
Oh, I'm not accusing you at all. I'm just...
So now he's mad. I haven't done too many interviews. See, he's thought this answer out. That's why you saw the head down. I haven't done too many interviews where I've been accused of murdering someone. Ooh, Tucker. And Tucker is actually, in a verbal sense, he's giving him a lot of outs. Can you see why people think that? Yeah, I can see. Throughout this entire interview, I have not seen him go to emotion. I haven't been in too many interviews, people accusing me of murder.
The answer's no. I didn't kill him.
Please remember to go and check out my Patreon and website.
Thanks for watching.
Morpheus.
When I was young, my parents would...
It is the...
Okay.
Sora 2 is literally about to ruin the entire internet, and I'm not even kidding you. If you haven't heard of it, this is a new video generating AI. Check out this fake
Pop off clean, still bad to the bone marrow. Woo!
The fact that dude just chimed in and said,
I'm viral with it. Pocket full of sparkle, that's a diamond digit. Spin around the block like a DJ set, and the glove still lit like a B-Day jet. It's MJ in the cut, no filter, just vibes. I slide in the booth, moonwalk through the timeline. Hey, yo. I slid through the city like a moonwalk, concrete drip so cold I got snow on the beach. Pockets on swole, yeah, they doing Pilates. Yeah, light on my fit, wrist looking like moonlight. Slide in the booth and I cook like a midnight.
Talk to him, Mike.
Kiss cloudy, be chasing my shadow. Pop off clean, still bad to the bone marrow. Woo!
the fact that dude just chimed in and said, talk to him, Mike.
Talk to him, Mike.
While he's sitting here rapping, it's not even a person doing this. Do you understand?
Street lights burning, see the smoke in the sky. I'm still dreaming bigger than the blocks I reside. Gold in my chain, but the weight's in the story. Every scar on my skin is a note in the glory. You feel me?
Tell me that doesn't sound like Tupac. We're going to get into the music that AI is making very shortly here too. But tell me that doesn't sound like Tupac to you.
I'm still dreaming bigger than the blocks I reside. Gold in my chain, but the weight's in the story. Every scar on my skin is a note in the glory. You feel me? Street lights.
If you thought times were crazy before, it's going to only get crazier.
It's me, 54 now. I know y'all ain't expect to see this face again. I had to disappear, man. Folks wanted me gone, so I made it look that way. Been laying low out here in Cuba ever since. Y'all.
If they could bring celebrities back to life in these videos, they can do anything. Fuck. I was going to save these ones for later, but I'm going to play them now. This is wrong on so many levels, but you have to see what's happening right now on the internet. Let me just show you.
Hawking rolling in, run two. Look at the speed building on that chair. He's lost
Stephen Hawking, let's go!
420
Oh.
spin attempt. He loads it, can't find the sideways. Absolutely. Hawking.
Stephen Hawking out here. Who gave permission for Pac? Who gave permission for Michael Jackson? Amy Winehouse. The with his afro.
Feel that texture? That's nice. Let's add a happy little tree.
Who gave permission for that? If he's no longer with us. Who gave permission for Pac? Who gave permission for Michael Jackson? Amy Winehouse. The shit is getting out of control.
Please don't do this on my face. take a little titanium white, just a touch, and let it dance right up here into the sky. Real soft.
You're telling me that doesn't look real to you? You're telling me that doesn't sound and look just like Bob Ross?
All right, let's just put a little touch of snow right up here on this peak. There, let it catch the light.
Man, I can't sit still. What are you doing to me?
You're doing fine. Deep breath. It's just a happy little mountain, nothing to be afraid
It's
of.
all over.
Just a happy little mountain, nothing to be afraid of.
Your chicken's looking nice, pal.
Woo! Yo, he stole my chicken.
Got a crispy treasure, can't slow me down. Hot and golden, I'm out of this town. Move, move, Friday victory.
Well, get back here.
Run, spin, slide, I'm gliding out the door. Fried love in my arms, can't give it up no more. Hey. What's up, everybody? It's Mike, and tonight we're giving you the smoothest vibe in the game. This is our brand new Smooth Berry Thrillers in.
And I'm bringing the heat with Mamba Mint.
Cool, clean, and clutch.
Just
2
like
for
we
12
like it.
only while we're live, so hit that.
Would you look at this? The painter of positivity himself, Bob Ross, and he's not coming alone tonight. He's not coming alone tonight. That's Anna Nicole Smith, King. Rogers got
Oh, this is a long one.
in this place, King. That's Mr. Rogers walking to the ring.
We might actually see a fight right now. I didn't watch this whole one.
Monday Night Raw.
Mr. Rogers, neighbor, it's a beautiful day to paint this canvas with your blood.
Okay.
You walk in here with your happy little clouds like the ring is some canvas for you to paint on. But this is my neighborhood. And in my neighborhood, people learn respect the hard way.
Ross offering the handshake. Oh my! Low blow. Come on, not Mr. Like Rogers with a cheap shot, and the crowd let him hear it. Boos are raining down on him. Writhing in pain. Ross is perched. No way! Five-star frog splash. He got all of it. Cover. 1, 2. Oh, Mr. Rogers kicked out. I don't believe it. The man in the cardigan just survived the splash.
Look at his face.
Both men perched all the way up there with the Bob Ross hooking him. Oh no, they can't end well. Avalanche powerbomb off the ladder.
Yes.
Just shook.
Ass up. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Is he thinking this is a 30-foot drop? Don't do it, Bob! Swanton bomb! Straight from the heavens! Rogers in the table! No, Rogers kicked out! He kicked out! The crowd can't believe it! This Rogers...
Oh. I was not expecting that AI. And Wanda in his neck would be. That with me.
That I have a dream that one day that ceiling device in my house would stop making those fucking beeping noises.
If you're still with me, let me know how real this looks to you. Because if this was somebody who was alive, like Jake Paul in the beginning, and you didn't see that little thing popping around for the Sora, the little watermark, would you be able to decipher the difference?
Professors in the octagon, and look at the composure from Einstein. Quick jab, overhand right, lands flush. Double change by Carter, stuffed. Einstein's got the neck. There's the tap. Albert Einstein.
Hold on. All right. All of this is AI generated. Those hands, that photograph, his eye just now. I mean, come on. Did you guys hear that Hollywood just got an AI actress, like an entirely AI actress that belongs to Hollywood, and they can make her play any part that they want? You don't think that there's going to be hundreds of new AI actors and actresses coming out in the near future? If you don't think that, you're crazy.
I understand this new artificial intelligence has blown your minds. But you know what blew mine?
What's that?
A bullet.
Ooh.
I understand this new artificial intelligence has blown your minds.
Sometimes wish I'd never been born Sometimes wish I'd never been born at all.
So you get the point. AI could generate voices, music, everything in between. And this guy on TikTok has been taking classical rock songs and turning them into soul songs. Freak on a Leash by Korn. Anybody? This is all manufactured AI, no human voice, no human band. Check this out.
Something takes a part of me.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't tell me that that sounds bad. You can't say it sounds bad. If that doesn't scare you yet, do you understand that AI is literally like 100,000 times smarter than we are as humans, and it's better at almost everything on almost every level? AI is making actually good fucking music, and there's artists out there pissed now because there's actually an AI record label with an AI artist that's already signed to it and releasing music videos and songs that sound like fucking #1 hits. Creativity is in trouble. But there's a lot more than creativity in trouble. Let's just keep going.
So fight something on the mingle, fight some things they fight. So something on the mingle, fight some things they fight. Fight something off the heel, who knows? Some things they fight. Fight something on the mingle, fight some things they fight. Something takes a part of me. You and I were meant to be a cheap love for me to lay.
Whoa.
Something takes a part.
That sounded so fucking good. Sounded so good. And there was no human element in that whatsoever. That's AI making cover songs. Let's look at some police cams, body cams, drone cams, and see how those videos look.
You're watching live pictures from Sky Eye 7. That is the Joker, the clown-faced criminal, sprinting through Gotham's West End with Batman right on his heels.
Fence just went into a yard with a pool there.
I mean, hey, that looks like it's being recorded from a helicopter or a drone. It really, really does.
Gotcha. Thanks for the gift.
See, like the running backwards was a little bit weird, but then again, you know, walking backwards was kind of his thing. So it fits his character.
Go on, hit it. All right, here we go. Shh. Listen, hear it? Let's move. Go, go. We're clear.
JFK telling Martin Luther King, hit it. Tag teaming.
God damn it, I keep having another dream. Why the fuck do I dream all the time? Lord, someone help me.
He's crashing out.
Oh my fucking God, I have another motherfucking dream. Can these dreams please stop? Fuck's sake.
No, I can't. I can't keep having another dream. This is getting tiring, y'all.
Another one?
Every time I close my eyes, it's another speech, another mountain, let a man nap in peace.
These dreams keep occurring to me. And I always have to keep saying it all the time. I want it to stop.
If these dreams keep popping one more motherfucking time, I fucking can't do this shit.
He's crashing
these
out.
Dreams can't stop coming. I don't want to see this shit anymore.
All right, so now that you've seen how good that this thing is at replicating human beings, okay, voice, look, it looks so real that this is definitely treading into dangerous territory. And come on, guys, we got to put 2 and 2 together here. Fake news, propaganda, and let's not act like you guys all didn't know that the president's speech was generated by AI that was let out like 2 weeks ago. Everyone could see it. There was a glitch in his speech, and he never sits that still when he talks. It was not right. It wasn't right. The speech that was online of Trump giving his condolences after the shooting, it was AI generated. So our government, our White House, even our president is already using these tools, right? And then when you add other countries in the mix and you add people who just have desires to see evil things happening, there's going to be a lot of videos online that are misinformation. They're going to look so real. They're going to be edited so flawlessly. And it doesn't have to be just someone standing on camera saying, hey, I'm going to tell you something horrible about me. It can literally be like someone was filming it candidly, like holding their cell phone off in the side while two other people are having a conversation and one of them says some messed up shit, like a president. Well, probably doesn't have to be AI. But what I'm trying to say is this is going to get a lot of people in trouble. It's going to fuck with a lot of people's reputations. I watched a video earlier where one dude made himself sitting in the chair with Chris Hansen telling him to have a seat, and it looked just like him. I think that one might have been taken down. But you could see how these types of videos could cause people to feel certain things, right? If you don't know about this technology and you don't know how good it is now, you could watch one of these videos and believe everything that you hear, not paying real people. Let me play videos for you and I'll continue telling you why this is a problem.
Wendy, don't!
Time to serve it cold! Still think you're king?
Just the motions of that really look good. Like the kick, him flying, the explosion, and mind you, the AI is adding these sounds too. Look at this. Look at this. The point that I'm trying to make is that if fans wanted to see Solo Leveling Season 3 and they want it to be completely traditionally hand-drawn and they're willing to wait 3 years for it and probably forget Season 1 and Season 2 by that time, they'll wait. They will. But if another company was able to offer them their favorite second anime every 6 months, animation studios might go out of business. They might. And if they don't go out of business, and if they stay in the business and they keep drawing, doing frame by frame hand drawings, they're probably going to have to lower their rates a lot, immensely. Because how do you compete with this? You know, it's looking so good, and this isn't even the final form yet. This isn't the final boss of Sora yet, but this is how good it looks already. So the anime community is split because half of them are like, you know, I'd never support AI, you know, generated videos. It's not real art. And then there's the other half of the anime community saying, I'm here for this shit. Like, these fights look sick. I've wanted to see fights between this person and that person. If it means that I don't have to wait 3 years for my next favorite anime show to drop, I'm dancing this technology. And you got to feel a lot of them. Text you, we could talk, whatever. FaceTime, all that. But a lot of younger people these days feel extremely isolated and depressed and lonely. And now they're promoting this.
Remember when we stayed up all night talking about the dumbest things? And somehow it ended with us debating whether cereal is a soup? Good times.
If you feel lonely and you don't have a
things, and somehow it ended with us debating whether cereal is a soup. Good times.
If you feel lonely and you don't have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, some of you guys might go look this shit up right now. Fake love. AI is not possible of real love, but there is a new app that is promoting a companion for anybody to download, create your companion, and it will remember your conversations and get to know you. And I've only seen this in anime format, but I can promise you that within the next few months, there will be real looking women. And I'm talking about beautiful looking women, sexy looking women that will make a lot of these people who already feel disconnected from society feel loved by something that's not real. This is so dangerous.
No way, are you serious? I mean, not that I'm surprised, but congrats! How about you celebrate by taking a cheat day and eat some snacks? Ooh, you can have that last Coke in your fridge.
Yeah, make yourself unhealthier. God, this is so bad. I'll play 1 or 2 more funny videos for you guys on the way out here. This new technology that they just released is going to destroy way more jobs than you could even possibly imagine. Music, creative art, videos, photography, animation, dating. It's so bad. And I think that it's going to come to a point in time where people really cannot tell the difference. And I think that that point in time is probably within the next couple months. I don't think it's years anymore, you guys. The dead internet theory is coming true as I speak to you right now. There will come a time, mark my words, where when you go online, you don't know anymore the difference between real people and fake people. You won't be able to trust anything that you see online, not like you really can these days either, but it'll be tenfold. Everything you see is probably going to be fake and generated. And the dead internet means dead creators. And I'm saying that hypothetically, not literally in a sense of like, you got to worry about me or anything. I'm just saying that if we are actually going on an internet where there is 90% of it is just AI generated fake, not real people, creators' jobs are just gone. That's what I mean by that. Dead internet means they don't need the creators anymore. Expect to see a lot of controversial stuff being uploaded. Expect to see a lot of stuff that knows how to trigger you, because that's what these algorithms do. They study you. I saw a video where a guy was filming his phone in infrared and it flashes every 3 seconds. The phone flashes. You can only see it in infrared.
And we looked at it through an infrared camera and it's pretty wild. Let's show you.
Okay, have your home screen.
It's on the home screen.
Not touching anything.
No buttons.
Okay, infrared lens on the camera. Boom, there was 1. 2.
And the reason for that, you guys should definitely watch the movie The Social Dilemma if you haven't seen it. But the reason is because those images are capturing your micro expressions while you're staring at your screen, tracking data on how you feel when you're looking at certain things. It knows if you stop for an extra 3 seconds to look at a picture. Oh, he likes that. It knows when you laugh looking at your phone. It collects all that data and it gives you more of that. You don't have to hit the like button for these apps to know what you like and what you don't like. They've got you figured out by now, trust me. And when they start implementing AI into this equation, you're gonna see a lot of things that you might resonate with, but I guarantee you most of it will be fake. Be careful, be aware, pay attention to what's going on. And if you know somebody who doesn't know about this, share this video with them. This is super important, you guys. We are on a huge turning point right now. Disappear in the next few months because I've been creative my entire life, and a lot of people are worried about this.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We're crafting tonight, just vibing. Check it out. Here's my little studio. Not much, but it's cozy. Let's watch the sun go down together. Yeah.
So are you a U.S. citizen?
Hey, I need to say something. I finally did it. I canceled Xbox Game Pass. I kept paying every month, telling myself I beat all those games. But they just sat there staring at me. It was like a pile of guilt on
Ok. O să încheiem aici. Seara faină. Pa. Nu, n-a vrut. Încercăm aici.